Talking Finance with Freedom Capital Markets.
Hi, this is Jay Woods, Chief Market Strategist of Freedom Capital Markets. Thank you for joining us for our latest installment of Freedom Capital Markets Fireside Chats, coming to you from the heart of the world of finance here on Wall Street. Today, we're zooming in on a great momentum stock in the satellite space, Gilat Satellite Networks. Shares of Gilat, NASDAQ-listed ticker GILT, have been doing exceedingly well over the past year as shares have soared by 100% year to date. In fact, as we tape this, they are up 100% on the penny. Gilat has been making waves in emerging markets, especially Peru. Today, we are joined by Gilat CFO Gil Benyamini and Arieh Rohrstock, who heads up Gilat Peru. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today.
Great to be here.
Thanks, Jay. Hi, Gil. Nice being with you.
Oh, it's great to have you, and congrats on a phenomenal year. But we're not here to gloat about what we've done. We're here to talk about the continued growth. So, Gil, I'm going to start with you as the CFO of Gilat. What is the big picture of your success this year? And more importantly, what has been the big picture on the success of Gilat's Peru operation?
Gilat Peru is one of the largest private telecom infrastructure companies in Peru, providing connectivity to communities and public institutions in rural areas. Most of the business of Gilat Peru is done within the triangle of technology, rural communities, and government-supported projects. So Gilat has been operating in Peru for more than 25 years now. Started with providing satellite-based connectivity solutions and evolved from that about 10 years ago. We won the first rural governmental bids, and along the year we've won 6 regional large projects that we've constructed and now we're operating in the country. In addition to that, we use the network to provide additional services such as Wi-Fi connectivity in the villages, cellular backhaul, and other services. And on top of that, Gilat Peru is also acting as an integrator in digital inclusion projects such as e-learning and other projects and lead the whole field in Gilat. So it's a very, very important component of the overall Gilat strategy and business.
Yeah. And one of the keys to your success is you have many multi-year contracts. And as our astute watchers would know, that multi-year contracts can act as a volatility hedge because it gives you reliable revenue, if there are some uncertain times. But give us an overview how Peru fits into your global strategy and what should investors take away from the market potential. And I'm going to let Arieh take that question next, but I want to start with you, Gil, because I want to hear how, as the global leader and CFO, you see Peru fitting into your global strategy.
What you say was a very true statement. Peru contributes a lot of stable, recurring, visibility-driven results into the Gilat overall picture. And no doubt that last year has been an inflection year in the business of Peru. So from strategic viewpoint, Gilat Peru provides connectivity, and this is what Gilat has been doing for the last almost 40 years. The focus in Gilat Peru is social inclusion projects, meaning to connect the unconnected communities. And as I said, we do it mainly in government-sponsored projects. And on top of that, Gilat Peru is a central point of knowledge in all of the digital inclusion projects worldwide, which are also part of the strategy of Gilat. So from the investor's perspective, Gilat Peru provides recurring, visibility-driven revenue sources to the overall revenues of Gilat with very nice bottom line margins that also helps, to bring money home.
Well, let's go to the man who's actually on the ground in Peru. Arieh, first of all, tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and how long you've been with Gilat, and then we can talk about the day-to-day impact that you're seeing with this partnership.
Okay, Jay, well, I joined Gilat 27 years ago when we started this path of closing the digital divide and reducing the technology gap in rural areas in Latin America and specifically in Peru. We have started with telephony projects via satellite, reducing the distance that farmer has to walk to a phone from 40 kilometers to 4. Those were the first projects, as Gil said. Going down the time, we have started implementing fiber optic networks and connectivity to schools, police stations, and health stations all over the country in order to reduce the digital divide and give services to the most far sites in the country.
It's amazing what you are doing for the community there. Now, from my view, public-private partnerships are, basically the unsung heroes of emerging markets. How are you doing so well with this in Peru? Do you have some sort of secret sauce with these partnerships that you can share with the audience, and how they benefited you?
Well, as Gil mentioned, we are in a junction between government, implementation, and efficiency. We need to learn how to work with governmental entities and comply with all the requirements, legal, technical, and so on. We need to have a very lean and very specified operation in order to serve and be able to maintain high quality of services in those very far away sites. You can be days away in the Amazon River giving services to a community. You can be 5,000 meter height giving services in a health post. So you need to have the people, have the infrastructure, and have the organization in order to support those services and comply with the SLAs. And you need to do it on a good way, in an efficient way, in order to bring money home and serve the shareholders as well.
Now, Gil, let's talk scalability. We consider Peru a flagship. How do you export this model to other regions where Gilat is expanding, say to Africa or Tanzania, where telecom needs are exploding?
Digital inclusion or social inclusion, as Ari mentioned, is a strategic driver for Gilat's growth in certain areas in the next years. And having Peru with all the experience within the system, puts us in a much better position when we come to bid, when we go after opportunities. It's very complicated projects, and if you don't have the experience, you can come up with a too high or too low bid or not to know how to manage it, and then you can lose a lot of money. And with Peru as a center of knowledge, assisting in each and every project in the pipeline, it could be in Latin America, it could be in Africa, it could be in other places, we come into this project with a much stronger position to win.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And Arieh, what parallels do you see behind the digital push in Peru and the more global push for Gilat? What can they learn from Peru based on your experience as you expand into all these regions?
Yeah, the technology gap and the infrastructure gaps in Peru are similar to any other rural country around the world. And the needs are basically the same. And I think that we are an engine that enables Gilat to find those gaps and propose to governments, to other operators, the right structure, the right project definition, the right infrastructure in order to support this kind of project and really reduce this digital divide. We would like to be partners to international organizations like the World Bank and the BID or the CAF and other investment banks that are dedicated to invest in closing those digital divides and be their technology and operator partner for this kind of projects. I think that, as Gil mentioned, we have the knowledge, we have the understanding of the needs and the gaps, and we have the ability, the proven ability to close them, and understanding exactly the needs and getting happy with the face of a kid that for the first time access the internet, or the teacher that the internet speed goes up from 5 megs to 200 megs, and the difference that it can bring to the population, increasing those speeds or just getting with the service, I think it's invaluable. And we can do it bringing money home, as I said.
Since we do have the CFO here, Gil, I'm going to put you on the spot in a good way, of course. After solid earnings and explosive growth that we've seen this past year, one, let's talk a little bit more about Peru before we go globally. What role will Peru play as you expand for your next leg higher? And then what other regions do you see leading the continued growth and success of Gilat?
No doubt that we're in a very interesting era for the space and satellite market. I think that, let's start with Peru. As we mentioned before, Peru business model is a recurring model, and we expect Peru to continue growing. We had a target of $50 million recurring revenue for Peru. We've reached that target only last quarter. We've won more than $85 million of new contracts that we're constructing these days. And then after that, we'll start seeing the recurring services revenues. So this is how we build Peru. We win, and then we bring more recurring revenues for a long time. The contracts in Peru could be up to 10 years per contract. So this is one layer. In terms of the all Gilat, we continue to focus on three main areas. First is the VHTS and NGSO constellations, very high throughput satellites and non-geostationary orbits, meaning MEO and LEO opportunities. Then we continue to focus on the in-flight connectivity business, which is currently the largest vertical in Gilat, with the acquisition of Stellar Blu that we've discussed a few months ago. And of course, we continue to focus on the defense market, which is also a large segment in Gilat, with the acquisition of DataPath 2 years ago. And with all these vectors, we see Gilat's growth in the next few years.
Gotcha. Now, I always ask this question, not to put you on the spot, but these are things that I think about studying markets. What are the things that keep you up at night, that are concerned, the biggest challenges you may face, not just over the coming year, but as you continue to grow? Arieh, I'll hit you with that question first, and you can keep it specific to Peru. And then Gil, I'll circle back to you, and then I'll end with a nice question. But what are the things you're most concerned with going forward that may keep you up at night?
Well, the continuity of the service, to be efficient in the operation going on, stability of a currency, and stability of the economics of a country, which I can say that Peru, even though turmoil on political issues, the economy has shown to be very stable over the last 25 years. We are dollarized, so it's another advantage just to operate efficiently and grow over the network. An example that we didn't mention, over the networks we are implementing, we are able to give cellular coverage, and we are implementing cellular coverage, so serving other operators, not as competition, but in cooperation in order to get into those rural areas. And this is another layer of revenue that comes over a project that is subsidized by the government, and give us another layer of revenues on top of the governmental contracted one. So to look on those opportunities and make the company grow, we are thinking about our 5-year plan in order to continue this growth. Gil mentioned an amount of recurring revenues, and we for sure would like to make this number bigger.
Gil, I'm going to ask you one last question that I'm sure your shareholders would love to know the answer to. And now you tell us what you can, obviously. But what are the biggest things on the horizon for you, 2026 and beyond? You're coming off a phenomenal year. What you're going to do is focus on what is next. So what are the things you can share with the audience that you're most excited about that will continue on this accelerated path to growth?
Speaking from market perspective, we're seeing in the last years a market that has been a niche market becoming, market that we see all the big players entering into, and becoming a very interesting one. And with that, we have to come up with faster solutions. And Gilat has always been a strong technology player. So with all the markets and focus areas that I've mentioned before, we always try to bring our solutions and products to be at the edge of technology. So I think that in the next few years, you'll hear about cloud-based solutions, and about more LEO-based solutions, and about 5G-based solutions. And we're very much focused on all these markets in order to support growth. Of course, on top of that, we continue looking for additional M&A opportunities within the areas that we're operating it and within adjacent markets in order to even accelerate the growth further than the organic growth that we're anticipating.
It sounds exciting. I appreciate both of you taking the time to tell us your story, and we wish you continued success in 2026. Arieh, Gil, thank you for joining us on Freedom's Fireside Chat. Take care.
Talking Finance with Freedom Capital Markets.